Today I want to go over some of the earliest recorded Bigfoot sightings that happened in North America. These sightings back in the 17, 18, and early 1900s were called wild man sightings, as these terrified eyewitnesses believed that what they were seeing had to have been a human because it walked or ran like a human, although it was covered in hair from head to toe and anywhere between 7 to 8 feet tall. They thought that what they saw must have been a feral human or a wild man that was born and raised deep in the woods far, far away from civilization. In the 1960s, a famous cryptozoologist, Loren Coleman, found an interesting sighting in an article from 1851 when he was doing some research. This article stated that while a man was hunting in Arkansas, he saw some cows that were acting crazy as if a predator was nearby. So this curious hunter looked around to see what the heck was going on, and he saw a very tall being that walked like a human, but it was covered in hair. And when they saw each other, it ran away at speeds that he never thought was possible for a human. And it wasn't just running away, it was also leaping in huge strides, up to 12 to 14 feet long with ease. Now this hunter was shocked by what he just saw, so he decided to see if he can find some tracks, and he did. The tracks he found measured about 13 inches, which is large, but it's not that large. So if this was a Sasquatch, it could have been a younger Sasquatch. Allegedly, recently, there have been Bigfoot tracks found that were 24 inches long and 6 inches wide, which is huge, but it's still probably only average for an adult Bigfoot if they do indeed grow larger than 8 feet, as Shaq wears a size 22, and he's just a little over 7 feet tall. Now one thing that really stood out to me about this article is this hunter said that this wild man had braided hair down to his shoulders. Now at first you would think, well, there's no way that this could have been a Bigfoot then. But there are stories out there about Bigfoot braiding hair, especially on horses. A couple years ago I stumbled upon an article about farmers believing that Bigfoot snuck onto their property and braided their horses' hair. And the reason they believe this is, at this time, there were a lot of sightings in this area being reported. I believe this was in Northern California, not that far away from Bluff Creek where Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin filmed their famous footage. And ever since I read that article, I've come across more eyewitnesses believing that Bigfoot had snuck onto their ranches, and while they were in there, they braided their horses' hair. Just last April in Hudson Valley, a family started to hear wood knocking and rocks being banged around their property, and so did the neighbors. Then one day in their barn, they saw someone had snuck in and moved all their hay around, and they also noticed that someone, who they now believe was a Bigfoot, had braided their horse's hair. Now since I've read a few of these articles, it does make me wonder, what if Sasquatch and horses are friends? And could you imagine a Bigfoot sighting where Bigfoot was riding a horse? But I doubt an adult Bigfoot would be able to because it would probably break the horse's back. Now this area in New York, Hudson Valley, is a huge hotspot, and there was a sighting here about a year ago that I've been wanting to cover as the eyewitness said something that I found quite fascinating. While a woman was walking in Hyde Park, enjoying a beautiful summer day, she saw a huge creature coming right towards her. Then this creature jumped up into a tree and started moving from tree to tree, just like how a monkey would, and this woman was terrified. Then it vanished back into the forest, and she was thankful to be alive as she believed that whatever this was going to attack her. Then later on it dawned on her that she must have seen a Bigfoot, and this sighting did get a lot of attention. And the reason I wanted to cover this is because the eyewitness said it was moving from tree to tree, which is interesting as Bigfoot is believed to be an ape, but there aren't that many sightings of them in trees, none that I can recall.
That, some claim, is the loud, ear-aching sound of the creature known as Bigfoot.
This is one from Hyde Park, New York.
Gail Beatty, the Hudson Valley's lead researcher of Bigfoot, says a woman
she estimates it at between 6 and 7 feet tall.
Told her she had a violent encounter with the mysterious creature on July 2nd in Hyde Park.
This huge creature came running towards her. She heard the bushes were parting, and she heard these heavy footsteps.
And then
the creature jumped up in the tree above her, and branches and leaves started falling on her, and then the creature started to move from tree to tree. She said it was terrifying.
Beatty's team and others have submitted photos like this: large footprints found in parts of the Hudson Valley, large hairy figures in the distance, and videos capturing this mysterious sound.
After hearing all this, do you believe in Bigfoot? Let us know on our Facebook page. For News 12, I'm Samantha Crawford.
Some other great footage that I just remembered happened in 1997 in New York. While a person was recording someone talking at a campsite, in the background you could see a small creature leap off a larger creature, then it starts swinging in the tree. And this location is not that far away from the sighting that we just talked about. And some Bigfoot researchers believe that this is some of the best proof we have that Bigfoot does exist. But some say that maybe this was a man with a pet monkey. But one thing is for sure, it's extremely unlikely that whatever is in this tree is not a human.
This particular video, known as the New York baby footage, you see a few people in the foreground. They're talking around a campfire, and it's behind them that you see a large figure walking behind a tent, and something hops off its shoulder and then starts climbing up into the tree like an ape. It goes up into the tree, moves around very quickly, and at one point hangs from a branch with two arms and just swings there. It looks like it's playing.
There is no way that the figure in the tree is a small human being doing those amazing leaps and bounds. I've spent a lot of time around gymnastics in general. My ex-wife was a gymnastics instructor. I've seen it again and again. The best gymnasts in the world, they cannot duplicate what I've seen in that video. So what we have here is either a case of a pet ape or a Sasquatch, possibly an adult and a juvenile.
Now, I thought the first documented sighting of Sasquatch from Western explorers was somewhere in the 1700s, but it seems that maybe the Vikings were the first. In 986, Leif Erikson and his men, after landing in the New World, saw something that they'd never seen before. They saw a large creature that walked like a man. They stated that it was ugly, covered in hair, and had large black eyes. Now, the Norse were pretty hairy people themselves, so for them to call another being that they thought was human hairy, well, it must have been pretty hairy. And that, along with the black eyes, makes Bigfoot researchers believe that they may have encountered a Bigfoot. And they also stated that this man-beast smelled really bad and that it would also shriek really loud. And they didn't just see this creature once, they saw it multiple times. They even had a name for it, which I know I won't be able to pronounce. Now, this information you can find on many Bigfoot websites today, but do take it with a grain of salt, as some say the translations may have been exaggerated to make it seem that the Vikings came face to face with an unknown animal that resembles a Sasquatch. But one thing is for sure, the Native Americans also have their stories about a man-beast, and these stories go back way before the Vikings even existed. Until next time, this is Paranormal Junkie. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned.